Please watch to the end. Comment and respond to other people's comments.
Called it a senseless act of violence. A man driving on I-70 was shot and killed this summer.
Now the DA says it will charge the teen accused of murder as an adult. 17-year-old Jamil James is facing charges for murder, vehicle theft, and possessing a gun as a juvenile. The shooting happened on I-70 near Quebec on July 31st. Dashcam video showed the shooting and that crash. You can see a pickup truck weaving in and out of traffic, and gunshots come from the truck. The truck crashed into a semi and other cars on the interstate. Police say James stole that vehicle and then ran away after the crash. The shooting killed a 31-year-old.
Tonight, a Denver family speaking out after learning the man who killed their loved one will face sentencing.
On Tuesday, 18-year-old Jamil James pleaded guilty to second-degree murder for killing Kevin Piaskowski in a road rage shooting July of last year. This was at I-70 in Quebec, and James is facing up to 25 years in prison.
And today, Denver 7's Christian Lopez sat down with the victim's family and shares their plea for justice.
Contrary forces are actually complementary.
These are words.
You can't appreciate happiness without experience sadness, pleasure without pain, order and nurture without chaos.
Tamara Holton will cherish forever.
When I feel lost, I read them.
Memories are all she has left of her fiance, Kevin Piaskowski.
I was gifted this letter from Kevin on Valentine's Day 2022. If there's any concept that could define the last 3 years for both of us, it's been the yin-yang symbol.
A beautiful love story cut short after a deadly road rage shooting last year.
We were just soulmates. It was hard enough losing my fiance, but losing my best friend was nearly impossible to get through.
The shooting happened along I-70 on July 31st, 2022. Kevin's loved ones say he was on his way home. The suspect, Jamil James, was 17 at the time. This week, he pled guilty to second-degree murder.
Yes, hearing him plead guilty was a relief, I think, on our, off our chest.
Kevin's family is hoping to finally get justice come January when James is sentenced.
Something that people don't talk about with grief is you don't really get closure or able to process or really able to grieve or mourn when you have a situation like this. I feel like we have to stay strong until this is over.
What's helping her find that strength when things get tough?
Over the last 3 years, we've experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, both on our own and together.
Is revisiting all of the precious gifts he left behind.
It's kind of what I needed to hear, because I think we get stuck in this sadness and forget that there will be happiness again.
Reporting in Denver,
I just feel like it's his words that I get to keep with me forever.
I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
A deadly shooting in Denver. Jamil James was 17 when he shot and killed Kevin Piaskowski. They did not know each other. James pled guilty to second-degree murder. Investigators say James was driving a stolen Dodge Ram aggressively and swerved around the vehicle before opening fire on I-70 on July 31st, 2022. James will be sentenced in January.
Who shot and killed Kevin Piaskowski while driving on I-70 was sentenced to 22 years in prison today. That shooting caught on camera. Jamil James killed Piaskowski in July of 2022 near the North Quebec Street exit. Authorities called it road rage on Interstate 70 there. James, who was 17 at the time, was driving a stolen pickup truck. James pled guilty to second-degree murder charges back in September of last year.
Closure and justice for loved ones of a Denver man who was shot and killed during a road rage incident in 2022.
A teenager was sentenced for killing 31-year-old Kevin Piaskowski on Tuesday after pleading guilty to second-degree murder.
It happened along I-70 on July 31st, 2022. Kevin was on his way home from work that night. The district attorney says the suspect, Jamil James, was driving a stolen vehicle. He was 17 at the time.
Unfortunately, this whole thing is like gambling with the justice system, with him being a minor when this happened.
Tamara says the family was hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Given history and statistics and how juveniles are treated in the system, it's very unlikely to get anything.
But after pleading guilty to second-degree murder last year, James was finally sentenced on Tuesday.
Lots of tears in yesterday's courtroom.
He'll spend more than 2 decades behind bars.
Nothing's going to bring Kevin back. There's no justice that we'll feel that's ever served, but given the circumstances and entering a plea deal with him guaranteeing time instead of going to trial, we all felt that it was almost closest to the max of the sentencing he could have.
And although no amount of jail time will ever be enough,
and I just think it's time for them to start making a change, the justice system, and treating them more like adults. It's just never to take times for granted, I was just waiting for him to come home.
Reporting in Denver, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Denver District Attorney Beth McCann released a statement following the sentencing, saying in part, quote, "We agree with the judge's sentence and hope that it sends a message to young people in Denver that the use of guns to cause injury and death will not be tolerated."